there, fellow string slingers, and welcome back to another episode of Riff of the Week, where each week I take you through a riff that has struck me down with enough inspiration to continue being a loud and obnoxious guitarist for the next 7 days. Today we're going to be going through Weeping China Doll, a song by Steve Vai, and of course amazing and very inspirational guitarist. I've got my new 7 string, so I'm ready to go on a journey through the low ends of the frequency spectrum. And just as a quick note before we get started, here I am just in standard except for a 7 string, so B, E, A, D, G, B, E. Yes. So when tackling this riff, as with a lot of riffs, it's best to break it up into several parts. The first part we're going to deal with is going to be but let's bring the gain down a bit so we can get to a civilized conversational volume. So we're going to start this riff off with a big old slide down the B string, followed by a nice big open string there, and then with a basic kind of open B chord shape there. Open, 2, 2. So open on the B string, 2 on the E string, 2 on the A string, followed by 4 on the A string. Now I'm going to do these all downstrokes except for the 4, which I'm going to go up, followed by a semitone bend there. Put it back where it belongs, hitting 2 on the A string. And so once we're done with that, you're going to want to get yourself into a position very quickly where you've got your forefinger on the 2 of the A string and your pinky on the 4 of the D string. And then we're going to go open E, 2 on the A, that 4 on the D, except we're going to give it a little, another semitone bend. And then finalizing this part by going to the 3 on the B string and then back hitting the 4 on the D string. So that pinky, once you've hit that 4th fret and given it a stretch, you're going to leave it there. It's not going to pick up again. You're going to leave it there sustaining through that 3 on the B string. And so part number 2 will be so most of these parts are going to open the same way, with a big old nice simple B chord there where we're going to have open on the B, 2 on the E, 2 on the A. And similarly to the other part, we're going to go to the 4 on the A string, except now definitely use your ring finger to set you up for the next position you're going to need to be in. And we're going to give it a slide from that 4 on the A string to the 5 on the A string, and then 4 on the D string, sliding up to 7 on the D string. Now in terms of little details and nuances, Steve Vai is a very detailed player. He tends to never ever just go and just play the notes as they would appear on tab. So he's very likely to do something like this, where he adds a little bit of tension to both the 4 on the A string when he gets up to that 5, and then the 4 on the D string when he slides from 4 to 7. And it might not sound very much as a difference between and, but it's those kind of details that'll give you a standout quality and emotion and movement to your notes. And so from this 7 on the D string, we're going to go back and hit the open E for a bit of a chord change, and then the 6 on the D with a semitone bend again, sliding down to 2, sliding up to 5, and then this little chord where we're going to hit the 4th fret on both the A string and D strings. So this gets us to around the halfway point, so let's go back to the start of the riff and go through what we've done so far, slowly and with some tabs. One of the tricky parts with this riff that you have to be really careful with is the fact that these notes are kind of cascadingly ringing out over each other. Now you don't want to be letting them all consistently ring out with each other. You're kind of letting one happen, playing the next, letting them ring, getting to the third and letting the first one kind of die. You're kind of only ever going 2 strings ringing together. It's kind of like a little bit of a waterfall effect. This is going to be one of the tricky and nuanced parts of this riff. So you definitely don't want them to all ring out over the top of each other, or else you're going to get this muddy mess like this. I mean, that sounds fine if you want to play doom metal, which I kind of do. And so the third part we're going to go into is... And so just like the previous part, we're going to start off by opening up on that big open B chord again, that same 0, 2, 2, 4, slide to 5. We're either going to go to that 4th fret on the D string, the exact same, and then 6th fret of the G string, a nice note there. I give this a little bit of a rake. He plays it still very smooth, but I like to highlight this note because for some reason I just enjoy this note. Sliding up on the low E string with your ring finger to the 3rd fret and then 3rd fret of the high B string, and now with your pinky finger here, 4th fret of the G, open G, 4th fret of the D, down to this chord, this E chord, this nice dirty E chord, just the 2 on the A and the 2 on the D. So this final part gets a little bit more complicated, especially since we have a bizarrely timed lead at the end and a really nice dissonant chord structure. So we're going to start this final bit off with a nice gritty type of C chord going on, where we have the 3rd fret of the E string, the root note now, the C on the A string, the 3rd fret, and then the E on the D string, the 2nd fret. It's got a lot of size and a nice grittiness to it. I don't know, I like this chord a lot. And whilst we're holding that chord out, open G, slide up then, let go of the chord and slide up to the 4th fret of the D string, and then hit with your pinky finger. That's going to be a bit of an odd one to see, but hit with your pinky finger the 5th fret on the A string. So hold the chord, open G, slide up to the 4th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the A string. Back down to that gritty C. And then when we're holding it out for a second time, open B, slide up to that same 4th fret then on the D string, open D string, big F sharp chord there on the E string, 2nd fret, and now I've got this little bit of a lead part to contend with. Now this lead break is going to feel very odd at first because it has a very free-flowing kind of time. It's just in this kind of falling, breaking apart style of time. But once you listen to the song a few times and actually play through it a bit, you'll start to get used to this timing pretty quickly. So we're going to take this part from the point where we're holding out that F sharp chord, and our forefinger is going to go to the D string from the 2nd fret and slide up to the 5th. And immediately go to the 4th fret on the D string there. So during this lick, make sure to pay a bit of attention to my right hand because you're actually picking a little bit more sparsely than you think. And then another slide from the 5 to the 4, with another hit, with a slide and 2 hits on the 2. So in one pick hit, we're going to hit 2nd fret, slide to 4, slide back down to 2, slide up to 8. And so once we're up at this 8, we're going to slide all the way back down to the 4, but we're going to swap our forefinger for our ring finger and pull off to the 2nd fret. And then up on the A string, same thing, 4, pull off to 2. Sliding up to the 7 on the A string, Doing the exact same thing, swapping the 4th finger for your ring finger, sliding down to the 4, pulling off to the 2. But this time going up to the E string and pulling 3, pulling off to 2, and sliding up to 9. So from this 9 we're going to do the same sort of thing, except I like to switch to my middle finger because we're going to go down to only the 3 and the 2 again. So 9 on the E string, finger swap, slide down to 3rd fret, pull off to 2, really heavily palm muted hit on the 3rd fret of the low B string, and then on the 2nd fret of the low B we're going to have a really nice aggressive yank and a bit of a pick squeal. And with this yank you're going to go up faster than you're going to come down. Open B string, finger behind the nut, pull it up a tone, and then let it go for a nice big chord going into the next part there. Well done everyone, that's pretty much the bulk of this riff. So let's go back to the start and go through slowly and with some tabs. So with this riff, we're going to repeat that whole thing again once the band's kicked in, except now there's going to be 2 little differences. One is going to be when we go to this section. Instead of doing what we do in the original, what we're going to do is so instead of going to the 2 on the D string and the 5 on the D string, we're going to do the same, except quickly 7 on the A string and then 8 on the D string. And back down to that same little chord we have of the 4th fret on both the A and D. And then the other major difference is the end. So let's go have a quick look at how that's going to be done. And so for this final part, we're going to hold the same shape that we had for that gritty C chord, except it's going to be up in D sharp. So 4th fret of the E string, 4th fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the D string. So whilst we're holding that chord out, we're actually going to be hitting a few other notes just to sustain us through and give us this great dissonant, eerie sort of tone. Open G, D string, A, D, open G, then reaching with your 4th to the 1st fret of the G, open G again. So slowly that is. And then move it down a semitone with the exact same picking pattern. G, D, A, D, G. Let that ring out and then harmonic on the 5th fret between the G and D. Hit that. Classic little bit of pressure. Thank you for joining today everyone, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to click like and subscribe and do all the little things that make me happy inside and bring warmth to my icy cold, maliciously guitarist heart. Brandon Valentine here. See you guys next time.